it's important just once. What I do find is if your label is inviting and they love it and whatever the product is awesome, if once they pick it up, you've got probably an 85% chance they're going to buy
They're
it.
going to buy it. Welcome to the Charcuterie Cottage Biz podcast. Ready to turn your boards, bakes, and bites into real profits? Then you're in the right place. We're your hosts and real-life sisters, Chef Andrea and digital marketer Patty. We're excited to dish out fast, actionable tips and advice to help you price smarter, market bigger, and grow your food business online. From passion to profits, your recipe for success begins right here. Now let's start the show. Hey, 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 hey. Hi, sister. What up? What's going on?
Another dollar.
Yeah, I
Here's a
wish. We
dollar.
need more dollars. We need more
We need
dollars.
lots more dollars. That's
Well,
okay.
both
We're
of us
still.
were running a little late because you were in there doing your hair and I was doing my hair. This is what I did.
Well, I woke
Like,
up and I'm like, what the hell happened? And I sweat. I don't know what happened. My hair was just
it was
absolutely
all over the
gone.
place. Yeah, I have a hat
But
on for those.
I cut it so short that now when you have short hair, you have to do something with it, like
Yeah,
immediate. So,
exactly. I know that's the
so as
bad
you go
thing. And
down,
I'd
rest it.
like to do that too. When you get gray hair like mine, it just falls out. So it's I have the same
Oh,
problem. I have the
oh,
same problem.
I have gray hair, if I can see, but it doesn't fall out as bad as it did when it was long. It's the long hair that does it. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used
Well,
to
don't be
curl up.
standing over food while that hair's falling out. Gross.
Oh, well, of course not.
Oh, well, today we are here to chat. Well, first of all, and some of you might notice that we changed the name of our podcast just a tad. And as you've been hearing us talk, if you've been at all listening, we are going to also focus on everybody who is in the cottage food business, partly because we together are also in the cottage food business. So I think if you are in just strictly charcuterie, you should consider getting your cottage food license too, or certificate, whatever it's called in your neck of the woods, because you have a chance to make even more money. If you're all into cooking and selling food, that as an entrepreneur, there's no reason why it's so easy. I mean, it was so easy, at least where I'm at. I just had to get what we got
Yeah.
our health card or our food handler's card cost me
Mhm.
$7 or something. I had an hour and a half online and then just go to your municipality, your state, wherever. And I applied and got my thing, and it was like a less than a week, maybe a week and a half, you know, and it
You know,
didn't
it's
even
crazy
cost
because I
me.
don't remember it even taking that long. And I wonder if that's because I did it before they made all these changes, and we can do perishable items here in Arizona now.
Right.
So I had my cottage license. I don't remember it taking that long. I remember taking like a day, if
I'm
that.
sure they got an influx here in
I'm sure.
Arizona,
Mhm.
after that happened. That especially that lady down on the road last week I was talking about who's selling her tamales out of the back of her car in a
Yeah.
very expensive neighborhood. But hopefully she sold some.
Yeah.
But part of, so there's that. But so today we're going to talk about what I'm seeing a lot in the groups is kind of labeling, and we might touch a little bit on packaging because there seems to be a lot of question, concern, challenges, which both you and I'm not sure I understand fully everyone's challenges 100% but I believe it's a lot of just technical challenges. But we're going to hit home as much as we can about labeling. Even if you're selling charcuterie, probably do have to label if you're going to package it up, and sell it. So I would assume you have to do that too, even though it may not fall into your cottage. I guess that's a good question because our state's different. It does fall under our cottage if we're working out of our house, but I'm assuming you still have to label if you're enclosing like big boards in plastic and
You
selling
do.
over your packaging, depending on your packaging, I guess.
Normally, they end up with a food license of some sort if they're doing it out of a commissary kitchen.
Okay, yeah.
So they don't have
They
to
don't
label.
have to.
But
Okay. That's
again,
good to know.
can
Yeah.
never stress enough. Check with all your
Check your
local.
local, yeah, your local rules are going to tell you what you
They're
need.
going to tell you.
Before we move on, though, we promised we were going to tell them how well or not well you did at the what do they do it monthly, every few months at the Tractor Supply event that you
Oh
did
yeah.
last week.
So I never did a Tractor Supply event, and it
Tractor and
was,
Supply.
I'm because I spent nothing to be there other than my time. I had all the products. I
Tell
had
everybody what it was, because not everyone
Tractor
heard.
Supply once a month does a, and let me get back to that time frame in a minute, but they do a once a month advertised farmers market, as they call it. And it's basically just your regular arts and crafts market. However, when I got there, the guy told me that was in charge of all of this. I got there and they just like let you set up in this certain area of the parking lot, and it went from 9 to 3. That was the advertised event time, which Tractor Supply puts that across the board across the nation on their website. So I got there, I set up, I did all that stuff, and it was pretty dead. I'm not gonna lie. However, I did make, I made money. I probably made more than most people there, but would I do it again? Probably not,
Yeah.
just
And
because it didn't cost me anything.
yeah.
And that's why I wanted to try it, but I didn't really make any money off of it. You'd think with people coming and going, there were people going into the store to buy their, whatever
Tractor
stuff
and
they
tractor
buy.
supplies.
Yeah, I live in like a
Whatever.
ranchy kind of area, so
Yeah.
there were a lot of people buying feed and coming in with their big old, 6-wheel
Yeah.
trucks and loading up stuff. But they weren't necessarily shopping. And then there were people that just showed up and like they only came to go to the farmers market. So you never know. But and I would say that it's not a waste of time if you're just starting out. Those types of smaller events are the best ones to learn how to set yourself up,
Yeah.
get your timing down, figure out what products are going to sell, get your signs made. Those are the best ones because you don't want to get into like a brand new event, big one that you spend a ton of money on and then get slammed and have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I hate that. I did
Yeah.
that once and just
Yeah.
regretted it. So,
Yeah, well, and I also think this could be just based on location, how well they marketed it locally. I don't really know what all the requirements were for marketing it, but from what I can tell in some of the other groups that we're in, some did really well. And,
yeah,
sold out, but I guess it depends on how much you made, because sold out means one thing to one person and something to somebody else. But if it's just baked goods that they were selling and they sold out in 20 minutes,
yeah.
how much did they put out there? Plus, how much busier was it than yours?
Right. And I agree with that
Yeah,
scenario. It does very much depend on what you're selling. I wouldn't overstock yourself for a Tractor Supply event, but there
yeah.
is no right or wrong when it comes to making stuff. You
Yeah,
just,
I feel like you'd be better off making just as much as you feel comfortable making and selling out and not crying over it. You sell
right,
out, good. You're not taking stuff home and having to deal with it and then
right.
trying to give it away to your neighbors or whatever, or throw it in the garbage, which I hope people didn't
You
do.
just
But
make one big batch of everything and call it good. Don't get mad.
yeah, I would say I would call it a success if you sold out no matter how much you made, and just don't make a lot, and next time you'd know. That's the
Right.
other part is that I think before, and this goes for every outdoor event or any kind of market or whatever you're going to do, is just don't show up. I mean, you need to go do a little reconnaissance, right? You need to go there and check it out once or twice before you go and actually commit to something like this, especially if you have to pay for it for sure.
I didn't worry about doing a recon on this because I didn't pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't care. I already had all the product. I didn't have to do anything
It's a quick
to make
setup.
it happen.
Yeah.
So, if I was born, and a lot of it had to do with me showing up as far as that goes. It was our first one weekend that we didn't weren't like in 90-degree weather. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't feel like sitting at home. I'm going to
Yeah.
go and do this event.
Yeah.
So it worked for me personally. And I did make money. I'm not saying I didn't. It was slower than I would have liked, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a waste of my time.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Well, with regard to the stuff you sell too, it's not like any of it, most of it, 90% of it, 95% of it doesn't go bad because you can just put it back out because you have prepackaged stuff in this
Yeah,
case. Although you did bake cookies, so
I
that was
did
cool. How
just
did the
because
cookies turn out, by the way?
they
You
turned
made,
out fabulous, but
yeah.
I didn't sell any.
Yeah.
Just because people were more interested in all the other stuff that I've got on my table, which is, I've got earrings and stickers and bookmarks and dry soups and seasoning mixes and things like that.
Yeah.
This was not charcuterie related, by the way,
Yeah.
anybody.
Right.
So it was just simply my
Cottage
craft,
food related ishy.
cottage food and my crafts.
Which brings us to today's subject because we're going to talk about labeling because I see a lot of challenges and questions, and let's just talk about tips and advice, and then I'll tell you about what I've been working on with regard to labeling to see what I can do to help. I'm always doing my research on all of you. When I go into these groups, I see what you are challenged with, and I think, how can I help these people? And so that's one of the reasons I want to have the discussion about labels today. So, as always, I'm gonna just run by some things and have you, chime in with your 2 cents worth, and I'll pipe in with what I know. And so, the first thing I wanted to talk about was why do we have to have labels on our food? So let's talk about, what's the role of putting a label? And I'm not talking about logos necessarily, right? We're talking labels that provide information about the product. So fill us in a little bit on, the importance of having these labels and, why are they there?
So in the case of food, because we're talking mostly about cottage food. So you need to have the ingredients on there. In my case, I have dry soups. So people are always very interested in how easy or difficult it is. What do they need to supply to make the soup other than water? What is the process? So in my case, I've got the front label, I've got the back label. The front label has the ingredients because that's where everybody, first off, if they're gluten free, if they got, dietary issues, they want to see that. So you put all of your ingredient list on the front, and then on the back is where it got all the instructions along with any necessary ingredients that they need to provide to make the soups, which is
Mm-hmm.
water and tomatoes in my
Yeah.
case. And so that's, it's important. Just once, what I do find is if your label is inviting and they love it, and whatever the product is awesome, if once they pick it up, you've got probably an 85% chance they're going to buy
They're
it.
going to buy it. Yeah.
If
They
they
want to see it.
touch, yeah. If
By the
they,
way, do you have one of your containers handy that you put your soups in? Yeah, I'm sure you have one.
yeah, I do.
Grab it real quick.
With the soups or without? Empty?
With if you have one with a label on it, I don't care if the soup's in it, but just one that with or without the label. The
Yeah, I
only
don't
reason I kind of
know.
wanted to show.
Okay, stand by.
Stand by. Okay, we took a quick break so you could go grab them. I don't know why we weren't thinking ahead, but
This is how it
uh,
works
so,
when we do cast. We literally, guys, we make up we don't plan
don't
like weeks ahead of time what we're gonna do. We
we're
do,
Well, we're doing the hottest topic of the
yeah.
moment, and that's why we do that. If we wait till, right before, a day or so before we get on, we can come up with ideas based on what we're seeing people having, challenges with. So
Mhm.
back to the label then. So the importance of getting the information on the label. Well, first of all, let's go back to why do we have it? It's required, number one, by the cottage
Yeah.
laws in our state and again we're going to get to this in a minute about the importance of making sure that what the rules are in your state and what's required or county or whatever, but as far as getting the information on it, you got to make sure that you're doing this based on those rules and you have a label large enough. Now my worry is if you sell a little cookie but you have enough room on there, and how big is the font? Can you even read it? I mean, you
Yeah.
did have a cookie
Actually,
out there this week, so
yeah. I went to I never sold cookies before, so I just went to Dollar Tree and I bought their little goodie bag. It's a cellophane goodie bag. And I just went and bought those. I put 4 cookies in it and I charged $5. And I made myself I have a 2 by 2, 2 inches by 2 inches label that I buy. It's not Avery, but you can buy Avery, but like on Amazon they sell like the generic
generic
version.
ones.
So you get a bigger pack and you get more in it, so more pages, I should say. The name brands are going to charge you a little bit more, but this is what, and see if I can get it to work.
Yeah, hopefully it'll work. Push it real close, or yeah.
I might have to.
Are you tired of guessing what to charge for your boards? Are you spending hours shopping and prepping only to wonder, did I even make money on this order? Hey, it's Grazing Biz sister Patty here, and I get it. Pricing your charcuterie boards, tables, cups, and carts shouldn't feel like throwing spaghetti against the wall. That's why sister Chef Andrea and I wrote Charcuterie Profit Secrets, the book that shows you exactly what to charge, what to buy, and how to finally run a profitable charcuterie business without burning out. No matter how long you've been in business, you'll learn our pricing secrets on how to buy smart, price confidently, and reduce waste while making real profits in your charcuterie business. Grab your copy at grazingbiz.com/profit secrets and turn your passion into a real paycheck.
Turn off my, oh, there it is, kind of.
Yeah, you just get a feel for it.
So there's one. This is the whole page.
It's a whole sheet. Oh, there you go.
It's a whole sheet, which I've used these ones. But these are 2x2s. I know it looks backwards, but it does say gourmet cookies on the top, and then
Yeah, it's not from our view. It's straight.
okay, it isn't. Okay,
Mm-mm.
so it gourmet cookies, and then the item description. Now on the bottom, when you're doing cottage food, you have to say that you made it in a home kitchen and
Okay.
that it's not been inspected, so people know you have there's
Right.
possibility of allergens. Now, that is the full page of the cookie one, which fits perfectly on those little goodie bags. Everybody should know what I'm talking about. It's just I don't know what the length of it is, but it's a basic cellophane goodie bag that can
Mm-hmm.
fit fairly large cookies.
Yeah. So do
Then
you fold it over or did you just crimp it at the top
I
then?
just crimped it at the top,
Yeah.
and I have baker's twine that I
Yeah.
used to tie it at the top, but you could use ribbon, you can use whatever you want
Yeah.
to do that. You don't need to put anything in there to cushion the cookies. I wouldn't add anything that might contaminate it, so no
Right. That's what
little
I'd be worried about.
crinkles or tissue paper. Don't bother with any of that. Just stick the product in there
Yeah.
and call it.
Yeah.
Because the
So,
less that's touching it is the best situation.
right.
um
So as we were saying, every state's going to have different requirements for what's got to be on there.
yeah,
So let me just kind of list out some of those things. We're going to look at, well, you might want to put your logo and your company name on there, obviously. But whatever the product is, right? Um, so if it's an oatmeal cookie, or in your case, it was a brown butter cookie or something like
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So ingredient list. So, and that's in descending order by weight, right?
It doesn't specify that. It does not specify, at least not in the cottage laws, that you need to do it by weight. Now, the
Here,
people
you mean?
commercial items, yeah, here.
Okay.
I don't know that that exists across the state because that's an awful lot for somebody who's just a home cook to try and figure out. But um, for commercial operations, that is how it is set up. When you
Yeah.
see the ingredient list, it's always whatever the most of any ingredient comes first, and they are in descending order.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah,
And then would you put allergen specifically listed allergen possibilities, nuts, dairy, gluten, whatever it is that
I don't
some, you don't do it separate?
I don't do the negative part of that. So if you say, I wouldn't put not gluten free or not sugar
No, no,
free.
no. But say
Yeah,
the
but I
possible allergens could be nuts, dairy. This is what's included
no,
that
I
could be
don't.
something to keep an eye out for.
Nope, I don't do that. It's on
You
there.
don't, but some people might want to or need to.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah, good.
Um,
What I do, let me show you this really quick. So this is my 5 bean soup. This one, what I do with this, as you can see, hopefully, if I can get it to stop doing that weird whatever it's doing. This part says I got a little sticker up here that says vegan. Stop.
oh, you're
There we
trying
go.
to promote the fact that it is. Oh,
And it's vegan. Yeah. So, and then you can see here, this is the front label. So obviously in big lettering is the name of the soup. And
mm-hmm.
then how many people it serves, because that's the next big question that people have, is how many people they can feed with the one package of soup. And then all the ingredients are here. And then I do have my logo and my website on here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of cottage laws will require you to put an address of some sort. And it's okay in our case. I don't know about other places, but it's okay for us just to have our website. There has to be a way for them to contact you if they have a problem, if they get sick, or
Right.
the authorities to be able to get a hold of you. So my website is the way that they can get a hold of me. I prefer that over a phone number or my address.
Right.
So, and then on the back, and just ignore the other stickers that are on here because this particular package was in a consignment situation. We can talk about that some other time. But here you can see the directions, clearly see what you need to put. I know
Tilt
it's a
it this way. If you're on YouTube, you got to go to YouTube to see what she's showing you, partly because this container that she has is really
yeah.
stinking cool. But anyway, we can't really see it, but back it up
Okay.
closer to your
But anyways,
face.
on the
Yeah.
back, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's too bright. I forget it. I was like,
You said put it
just put
close.
it right on your nose.
So, anyways, I can tell you what it says. First of all, I have my website on there again. And then I've got the ingredients needed that you need to purchase or whatever add to this particular soup, which is just diced tomatoes and water. And then I give the full list of instructions. And I also have, again,
Yeah, that's right.
the product was produced in a home kitchen and there's allergies, blah, blah, blah. So I
Okay.
don't put any prices on my particular individual items. I have signs that go everywhere on the different baskets and whatever I'm presenting them in. And the reason
Hmm.
for that is I might change the price depending on
Right.
the cost of the show that I'm at.
Okay.
So if I do something in Scottsdale, these go up $2. So
Yeah.
it's just
I would just encourage everyone to really go look at their what's required because I actually just popped up the Arizona stuff and there is some things that we have to clarify. And that is the ingredient list needs to be in descending order by weight.
oh, so
And
that's me.
the other thing is the production date. So
Oh yeah.
whenever you're making that, so they know if there's an expiry or an expiration.
Mm-hmm.
And the net weight, the net quantity, I guess, the weight of the food excluding the packaging is
Mm-hmm.
required. The allergen statement is what basically that mandatory, you have to understand that this is made in a home kitchen and that allergens might exist. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing in Arizona is required is, which I wouldn't have thought of this, but the link to the Arizona Department of Health Services. So they actually want to, I guess, so if somebody wants to go look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So just things to know. And I'm just saying, because we all just assume stuff a lot and it happens all the time. Like and again, we're not here to give you legal advice. We're here to just give you, do your research kind of thing, right? So make sure that you've got this stuff covered because we want to make sure you know what's required where you're at,
Mm-hmm.
and what we're telling you may not apply to you or something else might apply to you and might, I was just I don't know if I brought it up last week, but I heard recently that Texas just changed their cottage food laws to allow cheese, but they won't allow you to sell meat. So I don't know. I guess you could put cheese inside the certain foods, but they couldn't. You'd have a full cheese charcuterie board without any meat on it, but if you make it at home. But you just have to know what you're allowed to do, obviously. So as
Mm-hmm.
far as the labeling goes. So just
Maybe
make sure
that's
you're doing
because
your
people,
research.
I'm just saying, maybe that's because people put cheese in their bread.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was
that's
thinking.
probably what it is.
Yeah. So whatever the allergen requirements are, I think is really, really important. So let's talk about process of actually creating these things too, because I'm seeing a lot about these thermal printers, and I'm not sure. I think those are the ones that just spit out like in a long strip. I'm not 100% sure
Yeah.
because I didn't really look that close. But I'm hearing a lot in the groups about thermal printing. What is that exactly?
So the thermal printer, that's exactly what it is. It is the one that prints out in the strips. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to pretend that I know a whole lot about that.
Because you don't have one. No.
Because I don't have one and I have contemplated it, but I just never needed one. When it comes to shipping, there are a lot of people out there doing the Etsy's of the world and they're doing hundreds of things that are going out by shipping reasons. And so the thermal printers will print your shipping label and it'll do however many need at any given time. And so, yes, I can understand that. But for printing on just things like my little soup things or whatever, for those of you starting out that aren't shipping anything, the thermal printers are just going to be more of an expense that you
Sense.
probably don't
Yeah.
need to get started.
Yeah.
In fact, I know you don't need to get it to do started because I don't use it and I actually ship a lot of things, even with that stuff.
Not food, not necessarily food related though. You can't ship like
No,
food across lines
no, you
in
can't, but
certain
I'm just,
states. So you got to be careful of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Unless you're producing just a massive quantity of stuff, the thermal printer is just completely unnecessary. I just go by, like I showed earlier, if anybody can see it, the sheets. So the soup one was a 2x3 Avery
Hmm.
sheet,
Yeah.
and the cookie one was a 2x2. I also have round ones that I use for little thank you, and then I've got my logo on there for other things. So, go through, just put labels into Amazon or Walmart or whatever, and they'll give you all the options, and you just figure out which page is going to work for you.
Right. Well, so and this was one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this today, because one of the groups, a like girl was like, I don't know, how are you guys lining these things up? Because it's going outside the lines. And I go, well, go to the Avery website. Even if you download a generic or buy generic versions, they're going to be identical the way they line up. You get whatever number
Mhm.
form that is label, and it could be actually it could be one big sheet that's one big sticky label, and you could go cut the suckers out just to make
Yeah.
your life easier if you didn't. But you go to the Avery website and you can get in and actually access and download the template for that particular numbered label. And
Mhm.
again, even if it's a not an Avery label, but it's one similar to it, then you can still use it. And it's great because it doesn't cost you anything, and the chances of you not lining it up right is pretty much non-existent. You should actually be able to line it up perfectly. So,
Mhm.
and then you take the thing, right, which you do, you just throw it through your printer and print them out.
Mhm.
Now, one time you mentioned something about, and I've seen this in the group, about the labels getting wet and starting to run, and
Yeah.
so how do you avoid that?
Um, It's not easy. That is one of the challenges. So, I've been at events where things have gotten rained on, and I've had to replace the labels because they've ran because an Avery label is not waterproof. You can buy waterproof sticky paper, and but even then it still kind of runs a little bit. So there really is no way, unless you're going to go, you can also order them online, whether it be what are all those options out there, Vistaprint, or go to Walgreens and order labels, just printed
Have someone,
labels, and they'll
yeah.
print them out on waterproof paper, and then or rolls, however that works, and that's still going to be cheaper than buying a thermal printer.
Right. I don't
So
know if I don't have a colored printer anymore. I got rid of that years and years ago. I only do black and white laser jet and or laser printer. So I'm not sure that laser ink runs. So it's just black and white. Yeah, I know you have a color printer and I don't have that. And so I think that might make a difference too, because I don't think this would run, but I may be wrong because I haven't had to use it like that. But
yeah.
um yeah, and I bought, you can get a cheap regular printer. Like mine's a brother, looking right now. It's an oldie but goodie, but it's like let me just tell you what it is. Hold on. TN630. And it prints like, you know, I want to say it prints like, 15 or 20 pages a minute. So it's pretty fast.
Mhm.
Might be less than that, but it's still pretty quick. So I gave up on the color stuff because I don't want to pay all the color inks. They're too expensive for the bubble jet or whatever they are.
They've
But
gotten cheaper, I will say that, because
yeah.
I did recently. So I had a printer, no joke. In fact, this particular label that I just showed, which I don't know if you guys could see it, that was printed on my older printer, which I had for 10 years. It was a color printer. And there was
Hmm.
literally nothing wrong with it. But I went to one of those Amazon auction sites and got a better printer. And this thing, I'll never have to order photos again because it prints better photos than I can get from Walgreens.
Hmm.
So this one is a Canon T702A.
Hmm.
And I did print, I bought for the first time some vinyl printing paper, which was not cheap off of Amazon, only because I bought the smallest package I could find just to test it, to make my own vinyl stickers. And I printed them out and I
Oh
put them
yeah.
on the back of my Kindle. And I went on a trip to Yellowstone last week or whatever that was. And I was carrying around not my Kindle, but my phone, which also had stickers on
Stickers
it.
on.
And it did say that once they printed and they cured onto the paper, they would be waterproof. The curing process being 24 hours or more.
Yeah.
I hung them up and let them do their thing. And I put them on the back of my phone and the back of my Kindle. It rained and they
It's
didn't.
fine. Well, that's a
Yep.
good idea because I mean, I would imagine it's got to be expensive though if you're going to do that for your
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had some packing. I don't know where I got these. I think, it was some, I don't know. I don't know where I got them, but I had these packing type labels that had like a silver on the back that made them really sturdy. And I wonder now whether or not those would have been waterproof, but strong. So I don't know. I don't want to see everybody go out and spend a crap ton of
No, no,
money
no.
on labels. If they get wet, they get wet, but you could always have the information on your market table so that they can read it in what's included, and at least you've got it available there in the case that something does get wet and you don't
Yeah.
have any spares. But I would probably suggest you bring some spares along because you don't want, like the
I do.
cottage food police showing up and telling you, your labels are wet. Yeah, you're
No,
starting to drool.
I do. I carry them all the time because I can't tell you how many times I've packaged up 20 soups of one flavor. And then I get there and I realize that I didn't put the back stickers on. This is what happens
Oh,
when you get old. So I'll realize I didn't
keep
put the
talking.
vegan sticker on or something. So I'm
Yeah,
always carrying this
have them
plastic file
handy.
folder that my husband bought for his work. And I put everything in there and they don't get all beat up. And that way, if I make a mistake or something happens to him, I can replace him real quick.
Right,
Uh,
right, exactly. I think
Something
one of
I
the
might
other,
throw away.
yeah, I mean, I think one of the other things is like designing these things now. So if you, I think that's been another challenge is that, now what do I do? Well, I can tell you for sure, you can go to Canva and just type in labels for cry eye, you'll get all kinds of, templates if you want to go there. The key is though making sure that it fits on your labels and then making the labels so that you're repeating them on the big sheet. How hard is that when you're I know because I do this all the time, but I'm asking you as somebody who's not in there, like I am all the time creating stuff. When you're creating the label for a big sheet and you've got to create duplicates for maybe 10 on the page or however many are on it, how do you do it?
So Canva, I go in and if I don't use their labels, I make my own, but I do a basic thing but I do it in the size that I need, whether it's going to be square or whether it's going to be rectangular and whether it's landscape or portrait.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and make whatever it is you're going to make. Then you download it as a PNG or a JPEG and you put it, and then you drag it in my case, I have a Mac. So I use Pages. I don't use
Mm-hmm.
Word because various reasons, but I use Pages. And so Avery has those templates in Pages as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I just drag it in and drop it in the place that it tells you to drop it. Now, what I do, because people are right, they don't always go where they're supposed to
Yeah, they
go.
might be
Their
off a
size is
little bit.
correct, but
Yeah.
it doesn't go where it's supposed to go. So. Right. So I pre-print it on just a regular old piece of paper. I hold it up to the light with the sticker paper to make sure they're all in the right spot. I hold it up to just some light.
Yeah, me
And
too.
um and once I get them in the right spot, then I print them out on the paper. It
That's
is a little bit of a
exactly.
process and you
Yeah.
gotta practice. And once you
Yeah.
get it right the first time, you'll understand how to do it the rest of the times.
Yeah, good
So
call because I forgot about mentioning that because that's a really good way to just print it out on just a regular piece of white paper, hold it up to the light and see if it's lining up. Put it over the top of your actual label sheet and then hold it up to the light to make sure because you don't want to waste those sheets. I mean, after a while that stuff's expensive. I just got on I'm on Canva right now actually looking and I just typed in labels. I typed in Avery
mhm.
labels and there's a whole bunch in here that are pre-sized. So I'm suspect that these will probably fit on particular. I don't think the Avery label number is on these things, but I'm suspect these will fit on the Avery labels that are out in the world. So you could conceivably, now there is a way, and I can't explain it, but there is a way to easily duplicate these all at once without having to copy paste or drag in and do that. But what Sandra's saying is not hard. You have whatever you want your label to look like, you print it out, and then you can uh, just get it onto your Avery template or whatever your template is you're using. It's easy. Now, if
Yeah.
you're gonna buy a big sheet, you could just buy a big sheet and then use one of these templates pre-built that Canva has, and stay in those lines, and then you can just go cut them out. Which, if worst case scenario, if you just weren't that tech savvy to be able to figure out the downloadable label situation, you could do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but I think really the key is that you've got something that looks nice that maybe has your logo on it, definitely the name of your company, your website to help you brand yourself. I would also maybe suggest you put a QR code on there because your goal always is to try to get more sales, right? So when they get home, it's a walking billboard or here's your business card on the back of that,
Yeah.
package. So they're going to love it. And then they're going to go, how do I get more? And if you're not selling them on your website, why not? Let's get them on your website so that you can sell your products all week. I've been seeing so much recently. It must be that time of year because it's fall of the farm stands and everyone's talking about
Crafts.
what's
Yeah.
your farm stand look like, and and they're like, how much are you making? I just wanted to like go in there and put my hands around their neck and go, why aren't you online? It's killing me. But they're like, how much should I make and put out there? And I'm like, well, how much should you make and put out there? Well, it's like I made all this and then I had to all throw it away because I made too much and it was sitting out there, and I'm like, well, why not go in and put it on your website and make sure the whole town knows that you have this so they can either come to your stand, and get it, but your label could have QR codes in your website on it, but now like get them on your website so you can sell these past your farm stand day, and again, that's what we do around here. We help you get your website up and do that. So, yeah, it's just kind of like, whoa. So think about it, people, because I think you're missing out on an opportunity to sell more because don't have a site up to sell this stuff on. Um, Let's see, what else did I want to hit home? I think the branding was really, really key. Don't forget to put your contact information on there and make them look good and just legible so people can read them. And, just follow the rules in your neck of the woods, and I think you'll be good to go. Now, here's one thing I'm working on. I actually worked all week on an app. I've been working on an app. Yes, I'm that good. No, I'm not that good, but I am pretty smart when it comes to this stuff. And I've been working on an app that you can actually just go put all your information in these, boxes, and then it will create your label for you automatically.
That's awesome.
Including uploading your logo and all of that. So I actually will probably have that live in the next week. I would think so. So I can't give you a link to go to yet, but you'll be able to come in and just use that. I'm just so into this getting, there's so
So
much
stinking
really
smart.
cool tools. I'm
She sends me
obsessed.
out. Everybody should know. She sends me all these things. I look at them. I just keep shaking my
No,
head, going, the woman's brain
it's
never stops.
nuts. I know it
It just
doesn't.
never stops.
I
And,
have to tell
she'll
everybody.
text me the other morning. I was up early. I couldn't sleep. And she says, I'm texting her back all my issues in my world, and she's texting me back all this business stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, her brain never seriously stops.
No, because I'm
It's a
up in the
miracle she
middle.
sleeps.
I'm up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, okay, so one of the AI apps that are out there will take you and put you into every decade of the last 20 years or whatever. I mean, the last 50 years. So I uploaded a picture of my husband and I, and then it spit out like, 6 photos of us in different decades. And one of them, he wasn't in it, but I was and it was like early 90s, and my hair was all up like this
It's
with
god
blue
awful.
eyeshadow. And so and so one of the other apps I'm working on is to get your product into the picture with you. And so you'll be able to just take a picture of your cupcake or your charcuterie boards or whatever, and then clean it up so that you can put it on your website. And then one of the backgrounds is going to be you if you want to be in the picture with it holding it. So I have this picture of me in the 90s because I was testing it out. And it wasn't really me. I mean, it was me, but it wasn't me. It did look like me. But and then I said, well, have me holding my gift box. And so it was me, this ridiculous picture. And then the next picture was me holding this gift box with this big bow that just covered up my face. It was so funny. I was laughing so hard. And then I'm like, I'm
Got
never
me.
gonna.
What got me about it was that it was her face. It was totally not her hair. I don't know what was
No,
going on there,
no,
but
it
it was
didn't
weird
know.
because they didn't get rid of the gray hair. So she's like supposedly in her 30s. It's like 1991 or
Yeah.
1990 or whatever it was.
No,
A
it
horrible
did.
80s outfit.
It was
And
just the way that the
super
hair
cute.
color was. That
Right.
was a hair color job they did on me, but it was very, very funny.
It's funny.
I'll put it in the YouTube video so you guys can see it because there's the picture of me without the box, and then the box went in. I have to work on I'm still working on the app because I'm like, why is this thing right in front of my face? Because it totally covered up. My mom sees it. She goes, "Oh, it looks like you're wearing you have a mustache, a bow made out of a mustache made out of a bow." Because it was right in front of my face. I'll put it on the YouTube video because it was just hilarious. I'm laughing so hard.
That's hilarious.
I'll
I
get
actually
it.
didn't realize it was you. I had to kind of look at the face a little closer, going, "Oh, that is her. The hell is that?"
Well, I give it credit because I mean, you're putting a 63-year-old woman in a picture, and then they pull me in there. I had one when I was in the 50s, which you didn't even see, which was
Yeah.
so cool. It actually, my husband and I were both in it. Maybe I'll put that in the video too because it turned out really well. Anyway, I'm just playing around because there's so many cool things out there right now. But we can help you with your labels and your images and all that. So keep an eye out for that. So, just as a heads up for everybody, is we just want to remind you we've got 3 plans now of the Charcuterie Launch Lab, and we are going to be rolling out a version of the website that can be used for cottage business. But just because it's not out there, if you happen to tap into any of our other websites, or anything about what we sell, we can help you in any kind of food. So don't look at it like, oh, they're only doing charcuterie because that's not true. Because we're
Mhm.
still on the launch of trying to get the version out for the cottage industries. But we're going to have a number of different website templates for various different types of cottage food that some of are like bread and cookies and cakes.
Mhm.
What else? I think we built a tamale one because we're going to be promoting here in Arizona and we know that's
Cake
popular. But
pops.
yeah,
People cook cake pops, macaroons,
yeah,
things that people can make from home.
yeah.
That is more general to the international and national community
Mm-mm.
that they can make.
But here's the thing. Just because it might be a site that's set up for the tamales, you can actually throw pizza in there instead. I mean,
Sure.
that's, you
Yeah.
just, we'll show you how to edit it. And so that's the big thing is making sure that you can edit everything we have. It's not like, a Bakesy site that doesn't allow you to do much on it,
Right.
right?
It'll
So,
look like you. It'll look like
yeah.
you. This is what Bakesy wants it to look like. And again, no offense to those guys. Good for them.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
but the key on our sites, just, if you didn't listen to our last podcast, go and listen to that because we talked about the importance of being able to, create a customer base off of your site as people are going there. We want to make sure that even if they don't buy at that moment, that they're getting on your mailing list and that kind of stuff. So you've got to be able to give them some reason to want to fork over that contact info. So we give you all the tools to do all that and all the follow up and everything else so that you can grow your customer base, right? That's the goal. This is a different environment. We're really trying to market with you. It's not just, here's a site, go order, because there's so much more to marketing your business than just putting a website out there. There's so much more to it, and we're trying to help you on that. So, anyway, that's it. The label 101. So, hopefully, we covered
hopefully,
everything.
right. Hopefully we helped y'all a little bit along that. And
Yeah.
again, don't mind reaching out to us if you're super confused because labeling is really not that hard once you start it. Just like anything else, get out there and do it. I know I keep saying that to everybody. Get out there, keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go to make sure you're putting the right stuff on it and you're good to go. I know it's hard to smash everything into a label, but oh, the other part I was going to bring up is that if you do have that product that is too small and you can't get all the information on, there's nothing stopping you from creating like a cardboard type piece that is tied on with a string. So
Yeah.
it can just be tied onto your product as opposed to stuck on it, on a piece of on a sticker.
Hmm.
So that there's other ways to just make sure it's got the label close to it and on it somewhere near it, so that it's going with the product. You should be good to go. So, all right. Well, that's it today. What else? That's it for the cause. I
For
gotta
this
go
one.
again. Every time we get on here, I start getting hungry talking about food. So I gotta go get some lunch, I think. Still lunch hour around here. All right, my sister. We'll talk to you later.
All
Have a
right.
great one, everyone. Make sure and like, share, comment, tell the world about us. We're here. We love to help you out. Bye.